Around 8 months have passed since I last visited Birmingham to check on the Eastside Metro extension, and I must say I was pleasantly surprised to see the amount of progress that has been made in the city centre. In my last Metro extension video, I explored the Digbeth section, which was all but complete when I visited at the beginning of the year, despite the fact that trams won't reach the end of the line until around 2027. The public realm works in Digbeth do look great. I just hope the local authority keeps it looking that way until trams finally start running. Recently, I've started to notice nice new public realm enhancements, which are slowly but surely being overtaken by weeds. Although the tram extension to Digbeth has been delayed, that doesn't mean the extension won't open at all until before 2027, and a new tram stop will be constructed just past the Clayton Hotel, which will serve Birmingham University before the line opens fully. When I last visited, the site of what was the McDonald's on Dale End was as far east as the works had reached, and workers were still in the process of diverting utilities there. Since then, however, the tracks have been partially laid from Bull Street over the old McDonald's site, along Albert Street and across to the hotel. The junction at the bottom of Bull Street onto Dale End has now been remodelled, with tracks now running across Dale End. Moore Street Queensway is also in the process of being remodelled, and the tracks have also been laid across that junction. With much of the track in situ, it's now possible to get a clearer understanding of the route, which turns quite sharply from the bottom of Bull Street to head over Dale End and down Albert Street. Albert Street will be the location of the first new tram stop, which will be located just before the junction with Moore Street Queensway. The tracks there hadn't been laid when I visited, but things may have progressed since then. The tracks crossing Queensway are currently the most easterly section, and work past the hotel is currently concentrating on preparatory works, with new drainage sections being installed. I had thought that some utility diversions had been carried out previously on the site adjacent to the hotel, which was surrounded by hoardings for some time, making it look like part of the HS2 site. But it looked like a significant amount of prep work was needed before the tracks were installed. I got the impression from previous press releases that the temporary tram stop would be next to the hotel, but that would put it very close to the Albert Street stop, perhaps making it a bit unnecessary. However, the temporary terminus, which is now shown on the Midland Metro Alliance website, will be located closer to the university, near to the existing Curzon Street station building. This, for the time being, will be as much as the Alliance will be able to construct, as beyond that point the tracks will head south, turning sharply just after Park Street to head along what was New Canal Street. This street now falls within the HS2 site boundary, and work on the new Curzon Street station has officially begun, with piling now underway. Work on the tram section along New Canal Street won't be able to commence until the station foundations and deck have been constructed, which means there will be a missing link for a number of years, separating the completed section to Digbeth and the city centre section to Millennium Point. Constructing this stop has required an additional £18 million of funding from the West Midlands Combined Authority, which does seem like a heck of a lot for a temporary stop, which may only be used for 2 years. But this does include an additional crossover which will allow trams to switch tracks, and I'm assuming will remain in place, providing operational flexibility in future. On a somewhat selfish note, £18 million does seem a bit galling, as a station I've been campaigning for on the Wrexham Bidston line to serve the Deeside Industrial Park was last costed at around £20 to £25 million, adjusting for the recent spike in inflation. Although I appreciate the Combined Authority must think it's worthwhile, and it will bring forward benefits of the Metro, which will serve a number of key city centre destinations. With the new Millennium Point stop being closer to the university, That probably makes the Albert Street stop a more convenient stop for people wishing to access Moore Street station. The new Curzon Street HS2 station will be accessed via a stop which will be built under the new HS2 station on New Canal Street, which will also provide access to the university. Passengers will access the station above via lifts and escalators, which will bring people up to around the midpoint of the station platforms. It is hoped that the temporary terminus will open in 2025 or 2026, allowing the service to commence before the line opens fully. But given the pace of the work, I'm hopeful the temporary stop will be able to open in 2025. Once the HS2 station deck is in place, then hopefully installing the final short section of track will be straightforward, allowing trams to continue to Meriden Street and Digbeth by 2027.